You're listening to Hotep Ish with your host, Dewan B. Intelligent Ish Talk, intelligent shit talk, where we balance the profound with the profane. Political satire, celebrity and expert guests, information and entertainment, conversation and solutions. Leave your feelings at the door.
What the hell was going on? I think it's these Macs, man. They want to turn around, and when you done, when the computer get about 3 years old, 4 years old now, I just want to slow down all of a sudden. I don't know what the hell they doing, Apple. Y'all ain't been shit since Steve Jobs died. I remember my old Macintosh LC3. I got that. We got that, what, 92? That shit lasted till like 97, 98 when I got my first iMac, 97. But them first iMacs wasn't shit. And Apple, they may still have a rule like this. I don't know, but they had a rule back then. And that rule was if you have more than 3 complaints in a year, they send you a new Mac. So that's what happened. I had the original candy blue iMac, the 233 megahertz, but it kept tripping. So they ended up sending me out the new Mac, the graphite. Remember the graphite one with the DVD-ROM? When DVD-ROM was considered some advanced technological shit, they sent that shit out for free. And I had that same iMac for like 5 years. I had a PowerBook back when they said the G3 processor. That would lasted for like 7 years, no problems. My next iMac I got like in 2010. That lasted to like 2019, 2018 with no problems. I got this iMac in 2018. Now this motherfucker want to start freezing all of a sudden in the last couple months. Apple, y'all tripping. But what's up, y'all in the chat room? What's up, B Polly? Hell no, I ain't eat no mashed potatoes, man. I told you I hate mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes is vomited potato. That's some trash ass food right there. I'll never put no damn mashed potatoes in my face. I will take them hoes right to the trash and look at you silly for even sitting them hoes down in my face. You look at me crazy for throwing your throwing your mashed potatoes in my. You look at me silly for throwing them in the trash. I'm looking at you silly for throwing them in my face. I ain't eating that nasty shit. What's up, Vernon? What's up, Dr. Sinister? What's up, Quan? What's up, Bruce? We're going to talk today about gender wars and how it's obvious that there seems to be a gender war that the dominant society is doing their best to push on us as black people. We seeing it right now, and we see it every day, and it's happening in real time. Before I get started, I want to salute to Jayla and these damn candles. These candles are the shit. Lightthemood.com. Get your candles at lightthemood.com and type in your product code WEEDSMOKE22 for 40% off. Those candles go to help a great cause because people like me, people like Jayla, we ain't gender warring. Black man and black woman, man and woman, we're supposed to be here to work together. And make sure you share it because of this damn false start. People ain't getting notifications. I have 21 viewers in here now. On the last one, I had 70 already before the shit froze. So that means it's a lot of people that didn't get the notifications that we back on. So I want y'all to go ahead and tell people that, hey, it's back on. Come in and watch. Oh, man, they messed my whole description up. Man, come on, y'all. My whole description that I had in there. Let me put it back in there. Hold on, y'all, 1 second. what's the name of my website? Gumroad. I had the link to my book in there because I want y'all to get the book. Because what we're about to do is I'm about to set up my series. And it's going to be in the Patreon. That's how I'm going to do it. The people who are part of the masterclass Patreon, we're going to really break down this book chapter by chapter. And if you're a Patreon member and you're on the masterclass level, you get a free copy of the book. I'll have a link in the Patreon. For those of you who are in Patreon, I have a link for you to get the book. Tell It Like It Is, The Art of Loving Communication. And we're going to break this book down chapter by chapter. All right? But in the meantime, we're going to talk about it in general because it's a thing going on right now. It's a thing going on right now with Hollywood. Hollywood is really doing their best. It's Hollywood and it's also the liberals are doing their best to pit black men versus black women. Y'all notice that? It's like everything is a competition between black men and black women now. They got the black men looking like hoes. They got the black women looking like dudes. And in the middle of all that, they got black men that turn and transition to be black women speaking for black women. So what we have going on right now is a whole lot of gender confusion. And we got to remember that this gender confusion, you know, we as adults, we see what's going on. But do the children? We have to make sure that we have these type conversations. We got to make sure that we have these conversations. And we got to make sure that we always explain to the children what's going on. We got to. It's imperative. Because the children don't know. And if you can confuse people on something as simple as gender and gender assignment and how you're born and sex, you can confuse people on anything. And before I go too much further into it, there's going to be that dickhead in the comments later on. There's a difference between gender and sex. Yes, gender is assigned and sex is natural. That's what some of the people will say from the anthropology side of the game. But the two words are purposely conflated in society. So that's why I'm using the words gender and not sex. Because gender should be synonymous, male for men, women for female. But that's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. They're confusing people, and they're confusing everyone and telling you up is down and down is up. Yeah, Bruce, you said you didn't get a second notification. I figured that because it's a whole lot going on right now on YouTube. I'm just now at 67 people. I was at 67 people while I was doing my countdown on the last video. So, you know, they ain't sending those notifications back out. Well, we're going to get to talking anyway. So make sure you share the video and let everybody know that we live here. So really all week I've been talking about the whole Woman King movie because, you know, these days they only give black people a movie once or twice a year. So it's not like we have a whole lot to talk about when it comes to black lead films and major blockbusters in America. We just ain't got, so if you think I'm just talking about this movie too much, hell, I'd talk about more movies if more movies came out. But it ain't that many movies with niggas these days. At least black people playing lead. Not mainstream movies. It's not like the 90s. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, we always had our own stuff. We had a Friday book that would come out this week. 3 Strikes is coming out next week. Then you have a Poetic Justice, a Boomerang. You'd have Strictly Business. You had good black movies and terrible black movies back in the 90s. Y'all like Belly, but I thought Belly was terrible. But I know I'm going to get lynched for saying that. A lot of y'all love it. Belly did not hold my attention. But Life did. To me, 3 Strikes was terrible. They had that great promotion. I went to go see it thinking it was going to be funny. The funniest scene in 3 Strikes was the first 10 minutes of the movie. And after that, that shit was trash. Next Friday was great. And that's a good thing. It should be enough movies coming out for us to have good and bad. We should be able to have these debates. The issue is, nowadays, they don't have too many black writers and producers. And when everything is pushed out now, is funded, it's some bullshit. You get movies like The Woman King with these broads as the producers and writers. I talked about this yesterday. These are your producers, writers, and directors of The Woman King. 1 black part-time person and 3 full-time whites. The reason why I say black part-time, because I don't know if as a black person you want your name on such a degenerate film as The Woman King, talking about the slave trade, but leaving that part out. And so these are the women that were speaking for The Woman King. These women look like they will call the police on a black woman for yawning. Oh my God, calling the police? Ebony over there is yawning. And when her mouth opens, my husband thinks about what he's going to stick in there, so I'm going to sue. These are your Woman King representatives. And look how they aging. They probably all in their mid-20s. Looking like they going into their 50s and 60s. Especially 2 on top. They probably 26 and 27. And I don't respect them or their work because they're not talking about their history. You got these white women, they're not talking about the Franks, the Anglos, the Saxons. They're not talking about the Vandals and the Visigoths and the Vikings. They're not talking about none of they people. They want to go get a story in Africa. You dig? And they want to mistell that story. Appreciate the super chat. Yeah, I got alternative grunge and punk on my music tree. That's gonna come. That's coming. Matter of fact, I've already talked about them a little bit because I talked about. I'll do, but because if you're gonna talk about grunge and punk, you got to start with Muddy Waters and then go into Jimi Hendrix before you even get to grunge and punk music. But I will do a series on that. Thank you for the super chat. You're right. They won't tell about the woman that Bloody Mary was based on. So these are the people behind the Woman King, creating further division between black woman and black man. They're not doing this with their white husbands. As a matter of fact, for them to even speak on black people in such a way is so much disrespectful, because the only reason why these women even have an opportunity is because of the civil rights legislation that our grandparents and parents fought for. Our grandparents and parents, when they fought for our civil rights legislation, they thought they was fighting for me and you, black man, black woman, to get further ahead and get more opportunities. They weren't thinking about these deviants getting the opportunities that our black forefathers fought for to tell stories shitting on the black diaspora around the world. That's not what civil rights legislation was fought for. And these women all got jobs based on the civil rights legislation for black people. And that's the only reason why they got opportunity. And they give us this trash that lets you know, black men and black women, we have no friends. We have no friends. They don't care about us, and we shouldn't care about them. That's why we must have these discussions. And I know there's going to be someone that comes in and says, hey, I'm not waiting on white people to tell us what we do. You just should make your own movie. We need to make our own movies. All right, fine. Since you said we need to make our own movies, do you have access to $50 million? The budget for The Woman King was $50 million. My advice, I don't believe in telling people what they should and shouldn't say. It's just my advice. If you're going to run around talking about what we should be doing, then you should also find a way to fund that and make money for it. People like that act like it ain't no black screenplays, it ain't no black writers, it ain't no black producers and directors. They're out there. But it takes money to pull off a film, especially an action film with big action scenes and CGI and the use of green screen and blue screens and After Effects. It costs a lot of money. So my only advice to people that are going to say, hey, we should just make our own movies. Find the funding and I'll show you 200,000 scripts that black people done wrote that's ready to go. Black people got tens of thousands of scripts ready to go. So if you're going to go around saying what we need to do, go find the money and get it done. Either that or shut up with your simple suggestions. How about that? You think you're the first black person to think of creating a movie that's going to tell our story? You think you just got that bright idea yesterday, sir, ma'am? It all started in 1996 with the Telecommunications Act Bill Clinton signed. I bring this up all the time because it's relevant when we're talking about movies, and it's also relevant when we're talking about movies. Before, back in the 90s, the reason why you had such a diversity, such a variety in movies, you had hundreds of houses putting out movies. New Line Cinema, MGM, Metro Goldwyn Mayer. NBC was different than Universal. They were different companies putting out movies. You had Fox, you had just tons and tons of a diversity in places greenlighting and funding movies. And as you get through the 90s and the early 2000s, most of those companies started getting bought up one by one. To where now you only have a few places that are greenlighting movies. So there are very limited options as far as to get your movies on the front row and to be seen. Second of all, the people saying we need to you shouldn't criticize a movie and you should just go ahead and get funding. And make the movie. Look, I remember growing up as a kid, and it used to be a show on TV, and those of you from the 80s and the early 90s know about this show. It was called Siskel and Ebert. Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. They made a whole life. They made millions upon millions of dollars being movie critics. They didn't make their own goddamn movies. They weren't making their own movie and criticizing their own movie. They got paid lots of money to be critics of movies. Why? Because movies are pieces of art, and art is open to interpretation and criticism. Criticizing a movie doesn't mean you need to make your own movie. No different than complimenting a movie don't mean you need to make your own movie. You can be critical and not make your own movie. Making your own movie isn't the bar to being a critic. How many movies has Rotten Tomatoes made and produced? Yet millions of people go to Rotten Tomatoes all the time for reviews on movies and the truth. How many movies has IMDb made? 0. But they still have a star and a ranking system for the quality of a film. Having an opinion on a film doesn't mean you need to make your own movie. As a matter of fact, I appreciate the Cash App, Joseph. Having an opinion on a film is what we need to have anyway as people. Because movies are propaganda. TV shows are propaganda. Commercials are propaganda. If you see the names Sony, NBC Universal, ABC, Fox, you know the name, Netflix, whatever, Hulu. If you see those names attached to any product, Disney, you can guarantee it's propaganda first, entertainment second. If movies weren't propaganda first, then you'd have plenty of movies about the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages of Europe. And I ain't talking about these fantasy movies like Harry Potter. I'm talking about real deal movies with them eating each other, raping and molesting their own wives and children, them constantly at war, deceiving each other with long shaggy hair with hair all on their back. But they're not going to ever put a movie out there like that. Why? Because movies are propaganda first. They're not going to tell on themselves and show European America in their true light and how Europeans have gotten down 95% of their existence on the planet Earth. You got to realize the United States of America and how these Europeans are right now, this is the most civil they've been in their history right now. 2022. Yep. The people that are letting it, I appreciate Starlet, appreciate the Cash App. The people who are letting the water in Jackson, Mississippi turn into sludge. Flint, Michigan. The people who are allowing mass homelessness in their own country while funding wars in Ukraine. This right now, in this present moment, Trump era, Joe Biden era, this is the most peaceful and least savage the European has ever been in their 6,000 to 8,000 years on this planet, somewhere in that ballpark. According to them. They came around 6,000 BC, according to them. According to National Geographic. I ain't making no shit up. According to Britannica. That's what they say about themselves. They first appeared about 7,800 years ago. Well, in these 7,800 years, this is the most peaceful that they've ever been. They're never going to do a movie to tell you that. Because they'd rather you not know that. They know most people get their information from TV, from film. They know most people aren't going to go and look up if they're telling the truth or not. So they use the film industry as propaganda wars to create narratives, to impart bullshit in your mind. That's how they get down. And they use their money, their big money, to push it. So the question is, how do you counteract that? What do you do to combat against that? You use your power of fiat. You use your rhetoric and power of our black grapevine. We as black people, we spread our message through the grapevine. You have to counter programming with proper information and proper discussion. Because the program isn't as effective when the bullshit that they try to put out is brought to the light. These cats work best in darkness and in secrecy. They work best behind closed doors. The propaganda only works when we ignore it. So we must become critics and be critics of everything that they put out. If they're going to put our face in some shit and have it on some bullshit, then we got to talk about it. We don't just bend over and let them do what they want to do. Hell no, you step up and say something. Anybody got a problem with black folks and us stepping up and saying something? Well, they could just kiss your ass then. Fuck them. Who in the hell are they? The audacity to think just because you don't like what we saying, we supposed to stop. Fuck you. That's how you gotta look at it. Hell, white folks get mad. They mad at a black Little Mermaid. And the Little Mermaid wasn't real. They weren't even trying to pass the Little Mermaid off as a depiction of what goes down in real life. That shit started as a fantasy and it still is a fantasy. They telling you the Woman King is depicted off real events. So they're making you think they putting out there black society in the diaspora in its worst moments. The downside. These broads right here, they didn't write a movie about the Songhai Empire, which predates the Dahomey Empire, and all of the books. That same side of West Africa, the Songhai Empire, when they were controlling that side of town, books were the economy. They weren't trading slaves. They was trading books with the world. That was the number one part of their economy. As much gold as they have over there, the book trade is what the Songhai Empire was pushing. The Mali Empire, education, University of Timbuktu, modern architecture. They ain't talk about that. They talk about a war that happened in 1823, a battle in 1823. And if we read Mr. Chancellor Williams' book, The Destruction of African Civilization, you know that Africa has been under constant attack for at least 3,000 years. So we as black people, we must put things like the Woman King in perspective. The degeneracy that was the Dahomey tribe, that degenerate ass tribe that captured and sold black people. That happened at the end of 3,000 years of constant state of war. All empires fall and rise. All empires have a golden age and a dark age. 100% of them. They make a movie about the Dahomey in West Africa's dark age. And not the tens of thousands of years of positive ages that's been going on over there on that continent. That tells you how much they care about you. This chick on the top left, she look hella evil. Shit. She'd call the police on you. She'd be looking out her living room window, and you will come to a rolling stop. You won't make a complete stop in your car. She'll take a picture of your license plate and send it to the police. Excuse me, police. There's a black person in the black Cadillac, license plate number 7896X503. They didn't make a full stop, and I'm scared for my life. That's what her ass would do. So these are the people behind these gender wars. Like in the Black Panther, the major fight scene was between the men and the women. And you know these motherfuckers don't care about you because they always got the women winning. And no disrespect to the women, but that'll never happen in real life. Not in a head-up war, no it won't. No. You put up 300 women versus 50 dudes, that shit's gonna be over in about 17, 18 minutes max. There's gonna be 49 dudes left and 0 women. Stop it. Stop it. Tell the truth. At least if you're gonna tell the truth about the Dahomey women, at least say bring up the fact that they had French weaponry and they were fighting against not standing armies, but they were fighting against egalitarian societies that weren't prepared for war, that got snuck attack at night. At least tell that part of the goddamn story. They ain't never gonna do a movie about the people in Rome going around having little boy parties and the leadership in Julius Caesar raping the people that was responsible for calendar reform and raping the people, the dude that was the people in the Catholic Church. Well, it wasn't a real Catholic church back then, the way it is now, but you know what I mean. Having them reform the calendar, Julius Caesar did that by rape. He raped the motherfucker and said, add the month of July, because I want to be remembered forever. And then Augustus Caesar came in right after him and raped him, was doing all kind of rape and bullshit, and added his name to the calendar. And that's where we get August. They ain't gonna make no movie about that. They ain't gonna make no movies about Julius Caesar and Rupert and Brutus tearing each other up in the ass. The movie be called Roman Dugouts. Roman Dig Downs. They ain't gonna make no movies about that. They definitely ain't gonna make no movies about the black monarchy in the original Britons being black monarchy. They ain't gonna talk about that. They ain't gonna make no movies about the Vikings making a voyage into what's now known as Halifax, Nova Scotia, during the year, I think it was 980 or 998, right around the turn of the first millennia. The Vikings made their first voyage to Nova Scotia, and they ran across. I'm sorry, I take it back. It was around the year 1200. It was around the year 1200. They made a pilgrimage, and you can find this in Dr. James Imhotep's books, The First Americans Were Africans. You can find that in this book. The Vikings made their first voyage to the Americas in the Nova Scotia area, ran across the Trois and Butte. Those like the little short midgets, the pygmy people, that's what they call them. And when the Vikings first ran across the pygmy, they started a war. And the pygmies kicked them Vikings' asses. Yeah, the little short Trois pygmy people. See if I can find a picture. Yeah, they ain't gonna tell you about that war that happened. It was a short war too. No pun intended. Yeah, these people, you can be seen all across the world. You know, the Trois, they were all through the Americas too at some point. They were also in Scotland. These people are the reason why you get in Ireland, in Scotland. That's where you get the whole story of the Irish, the luck of the Irish, the midget little pygmies. They were in Ireland too. Those are your original leprechauns. That's where the whole story of the leprechaun came from. But they were also in Canada and in the Americas. They were all across the planet. They were the first migrants to most of the earth. Most of the earth was populated by these people. And when the Vikings first came to Nova Scotia off the coast of Canada, they tried to start a fight with these people, and these Trois pygmy people kicked their motherfucking ass. The Vikings had to wait a couple hundred more years before they came back over here to the Americas. They ain't gonna tell you that story. Plus, they make it seem as if they came through like gangbusters. The European, if we're gonna tell the whole truth, they have been trying to infiltrate Africa for well over 3,000 years. They didn't finally get in all the way until the last 400 years. Really the last 150? Because even over the last 400 years, they only got softened up because of the Arab slave trade has been going on for over. The Arab slave trade within Africa had been going on since the 800s. The Arabs used Islam to enslave Africans. The white folks used Christianity to enslave Africans. that's over thousands of years of trying and getting their ass whooped. They ain't gonna tell you none of that. They ain't gonna tell you none of that. But they bring up moments from the lowest points in the diaspora's history to pit black man against black woman. They're also doing it in politics. Look at what these sorry-ass Democrats are doing. Stacey Abrams, I want black men to vote for me, but you ain't offering black men shit. State of Georgia is offering reparations, well, universal basic income to black women. They ain't offering black men shit. They do that for a reason. You give resources to one, lock the other out of resources, and what that does is it creates a natural war. Let's break this down to the parents out there with 2 children. You have brother and sister. Brother and sister, left to their own device, they get along. They're fine. But you give the boy a toy and not the girl. Or you give the girl a toy and not the boy. What's going to happen? They're going to start to look at each other funny. And then you give the girl another toy and you tell the boy, that's okay. Black girl magic. It's going to happen. You're going to take otherwise loving siblings and you're going to get them pitted towards one another. And they're going to start to fight. I deal with this all the time working with families. Parents oftentimes unknowingly, or children parents may not even be doing this intentionally or doing it at all. But one child will have the perception that the other child is getting more than they're getting. When that happens, that's usually the backbone to warring siblings. That's the formula to get siblings and people to fight amongst each other, to give one side something and the other side nothing. And how that's worked over the last 60 years is you develop, and not all black women, but too many black women, a certain sense of entitlement of what's wrong with black men? What's wrong with black men? I got my money. I got my car. No scrubs. Well, you also got an economic foothold that he didn't get. And the women with sense in their heads, they know this. Most black women have sense. The black women with sense understand this. So I ain't talking about y'all. I'm just talking in general, okay? If this doesn't apply to you, let it fly. Then you got men out there who see that. And you have some men who will see the game for what it is, like myself, and be like, you know what? It ain't going to be no, I don't have a safety net. So that means I got to get out there and get it. But I was also raised by a loving father that explained the game to me, who was raised by a father. So me, I'm going to get out there and get it. But there are other men who didn't have that upbringing. And they were raised in a gender warring environment. Mom not getting along with that father or whatever. And so they don't see things the same way. They can tend to see things the way that they were raised to see things within their environment. And if, and not all, but if they were raised in an environment with mostly women, then you're going to tend to see things through a woman's point of view. Nurture versus nature. That's just what it is. That's the environment you were fostered in. That's the environment you were nurtured in. So you're going to see things in that environment. And when you deal with boys who see things that way, they can then take on that energy out into the real world. Now they looking at women getting things, and that's where you get these manosphere niggas. Hey, I'm a red pill, I'm a green pill, I'm a black. Where the fuck these pills are that y'all say? I don't get into that manosphere, green pill, red pill, blue pill talk, nigga. Nigga, drink some water. How about that? Just drink some water and calm your ass down. But these are the dudes that get into the gender wars. Well, black women are this and black women are that. And I don't like black women. And black women get welfare and I don't get anything. That's where these niggas come from. But again, I get it. I'm not here to judge those fellas. I'm just saying don't come around my channel saying that you going too soft on the women. As long as you niggas don't do that, I'm fine with y'all. Because I get where it comes from. I understand where it comes from. You did? I get it. So when it comes down to it, we got to have these conversations. Because we got to get past this. Again, I don't judge my brothers raised in those single home environments. I see the effects. But we got to have these conversations, fellas, and get over it. Women who were done wrong by the men in your environment, I understand it's a whole bunch of shady ass niggas out there who have done you wrong. Ladies, predatory men who took advantage of your innocence. Same with you fellas. There are also predatory men that took your innocence and predatory women who took your innocence. That's the result of being raised in our brains and not being cleansed of the effects of slavery. Black people, our heads are all fucked up. So this channel here, if you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe. Thank you for listening. But at this channel, we address the issues to solve the issues. This isn't a place that we come to talk about what's going wrong, to just have a circular conversation in a war and a fight. And then you guys give me a whole bunch of cash apps and I say, hey, I'll see you tomorrow. That's not what we're here for. We're here to hopefully raise discussion and bring up ideas that can help bring forth solutions. So we got to first know that we facing some bullshit. And we deal with a government and a media apparatus that does its best to divide us and continue the division between men and women. We have to reject this gender war. Democrats, if y'all out there listening, or if you're one of those people who vote blue no matter who, fine, I'm not here to judge you. But for those of us who don't, I'm not voting for a party that falsely uplifts and marginalizes at the same time black women while shitting on black men. No group, no people, no person that has your best interests at heart are going to draw a schism between the men and the women. Black man, woman, child, we are in this together. That's the point that I tried to bring up on Fox Soul. Women in this gender divide that the Democrats have been pushing out towards us, it's like the mothers forgot all about the children. What about the kids? You so mad at men, you done ignored your children's needs. You spreading poison down to your children. Some of you men are so jaded by women, you allowing your children to see you call a woman a bitch? Let's talk about that real quick. What's up, still Kevin Trees? I ain't seen you in a minute, man. Welcome, salute. What's up, Jayla? What's up, Dave Davis? 07. Appreciate y'all for joining the chat room. McCoy 1303, appreciate y'all. But let's talk about that real quick. Fellas, I'll never forget something my dad said. My dad told my mom, he told me this when I was a little older, but it was something he told my mom before they had me. He told my mom, if I ever have to call you a bitch or out your name, I'm not going to be with you. Because I'm not about to live a life where I got discontent and tension in my home. My dad was like, I don't do tension in my home. Straight up. Whatever issues we have, we going to solve these issues. And we going to talk them out like adults. I'm not going to call you out your name. Don't call me out my name. Those was the rules my dad laid down before my mom and my dad, before they had me. And those are the rules that they abided by and lived by. My mom actually told me the story about my dad saying that. So like one day when I was like 12 or 13, I had that conversation with my parents because I'm getting older, you know what I mean? Starting to look at girls more. And my dad would tell me, if you ever with a woman that you feel you have to call out her name to get her attention, my dad would tell me, don't be with her. He wouldn't tell me, oh, all black women are queens. That's patronizing. Everybody ain't a queen. It's a whole bunch of it's a whole bunch of queens and it's a whole bunch of degenerates too. So I'm not about to patronize nobody. Good and bad exists on the male and female side. But my dad would always talk about when choosing one, if you want a peaceful home, if you feel like you got to call her out her name, then you shouldn't be with her. I'm 41 years old. I've never heard my dad call my mom out of her name. I've never seen my mom disrespect my dad. If my dad ever said do something, my mom did it. And she didn't go around complaining while she did it. She just did it. And if my mom asked something to my dad that she needs from him, my dad did it. And that's the house I was raised in. That's the house I provide for me and my wife. It ain't no disrespect around here. Nope. Don't ever let your children see you disrespect their father or their mother. Leave your shit between you, adults. Leave your shit between the adults. Don't pull your children into your shit. I've had to work with far too many young men and women whose parents pulled them into their shit. And now a 7 and 8-year-old, a 14-year-old got to handle 30 and 40-year-old adult problems. And you wondering why those children's growth is stunted in certain areas. You making them bite off too much too soon. Don't no child want to hate their mama. Don't no child want to hate their daddy. You don't make a child make a decision between parents. That's where this gender warring shit starts. Those children become adults. And those adults, somebody said, Fanny's friend, these are the solutions, dumbass. Are you listening? You sound like a preacher in the pulpit. This is the solution. Don't do this shit. That's the solution. God damn it, are you listening? These are the underlying causes and factors of the gender wars. It starts at child age. It starts with, as the adults, if you were raised in that kind of environment, don't pass that environment down to your kids. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. Because a lot of people in here were victims of this. It starts with you being the person that's going to break that generational curse. That's where it starts. It starts with you saying, yeah, my mama wasn't shit. Yeah, my daddy wasn't shit. They did these things to me, but I ain't gonna do it to my kids. That's the solution, nigga. Listen. Pull the wax out your ears. This whole broadcast is a solution. We can't have another generation of this bullshit, no matter how much you was hurt. My dad was raised in a household where all my grandfather did was split between. I love my grandfather, Poppy, who just passed away. But my grandfather had his faults. He used to talk all kind of shit about my grandmother. My grandfather was the type that would give my dad 2 or 3 candy bars and say, don't give one to your brother and your sister, my Aunt Georgette and my Uncle Michael. But my dad was always reasonable. And my dad knew something about that wasn't right. So when my dad raised me, he made sure to be the person who broke that generational bullshit. The paper said, check out the ISIS papers. Bruh, you are, no disrespect to you, bruh, but I done had whole book clubs about the ISIS papers years ago on this channel. Go back and check it out. We done the ISIS papers. Yeah, the people in here, we already on code with the ISIS papers, my brother. So my dad was the one that broke that. My dad was raised in an environment of splitting, of talking shit. My grandfather, man, I remember when I was a child, my grandfather, I'd be in there chilling with my grandmother. My grandfather come in. Now, why you always with your grandmama? She always with shit. All she do is sit on her ass and watch TV shit. You what the fuck you in there with her? You need to be in here with me watching baseball shit. My grandfather used to hate it when I be in there with my grandmama. All they did was go back and forth with each other. But my dad decided to be the one that broke that. He wasn't going to run a household like that. He was raised in one of those households. He wasn't going to let that be his household. So I'm saying that to say, just because you were raised in that environment, don't mean you can't change it. Yeah, if you're new to this chat room, if you're new to you're welcome to the people who are new here. But this is a channel where we have high-level discussions. And welcome to people who are new here and jumping in. But yeah, we keep this above, we keep this out the pits and into the higher vibration. So welcome. Be the generation that stops the bullshit. Communicate to your children. And when you're done communicating to your children, communicate to one another. We got to love one another. We got to speak to one another with love. We got to interact with love. It's vitally important. Is vitally important. And that's what I talk about in my book. We will be doing some getting into the nitty-gritty on the book real soon. But in the book, Tell It Like It Is, The Art of Loving Communication, I have a chapter on listening. Gotta listen. You gotta know the love language. What's your spouse's, your partner's love language? Speak that love language. Don't play into the divisiveness. And speaking of gender divide, yeah, and yes, I will do a breakdown of my I know y'all still asking. Y'all want me to do a breakdown of my Fox Soul episode. I will. I'm just waiting on Fox Soul to email me the full file of the video. We're gonna talk about it. But for those of you who don't know, I was on Fox Soul with Dr. Umar, Cynthia Bayang G, and this man that we thought was a woman. The gender divide is getting so bad. They're letting men speak for women, men who are dressed up as women speak for women, and women are just supposed to allow this to happen. Women, y'all ain't supposed to say nothing. Women, y'all supposed to sit idly by while this happens. Well, the man dressed as a woman responded to Dr. Umar with a very nasty, grotesque response to what he had to say. I want y'all to see this because there's a whole new factor brought into the gender war, and that's the person masquerading as the opposite sex. Somebody said, why did they have Umar? They had Umar because Umar was the right person for the panel. That's why they had Umar. And he did a great job breaking it down along with me. But the Transformer that was on Fox Soul had this low-key, disgusting response to Umar. Listen in.
Dr. Umar, that, which is something that I think is a fundamental issue within our community, is the fact that we are so willing and ready to walk away from each other than to figure this out.
That's a man.
But what really burdens your grits and what really makes you upset, Dr. Umar, is that you sat there on that live, that panel for an hour and a half with commercial breaks and all of that, and your little jumping, and every time I opened my intelligent mouth, your little got a little harder, and you were just so enthralled with this black queen that was spitting this knowledge. Even if
why is this man talking about another man's dick?
you didn't agree with everything that I was saying, down for it, because when it comes down to the women that you claim that you like, on that panel, I was her. It's giving skin. It was giving fresh face. It was giving no. It was giving, I'm not giving it to everybody. It was giving African kin.
I'm telling y'all right now, this thing had their titties out. I don't know if they got an implant or if they got a bra that got a push up, but on the Fox Soul episode, this Transformer had their titties out. I thought that this was a woman.
Take cloth. It was giving all of the things, and set it up that way for a reason. I didn't go in and put on lashes or overdo my makeup.
Yes, the fuck you did.
I barely brushed my because I didn't want people to turn around and say, you can only fool us if you have all of that going on. You can only trick us if
your voice also wasn't that deep. Your voice was not that deep on Fox Soul.
you have all of that going on. You can only be a woman if you have all of that going on.
So yeah. 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 That's what we have to deal with on Fox Soul. That thing right there. And you ever notice they always talk about well, being trans doesn't mean, they always want to equate it to sex. Why do they always want to equate things to sex? Then the minute something like this happens, first thing you talk about is sexual organs. The only person that gave that dude woman a compliment was Cynthia G. On one of the commercial breaks, Cynthia G was talking about how pretty she is. Umar wasn't saying nothing, and I for damn sure didn't say nothing about. Even though I thought it was a woman. They go around fooling people, and they think that's cute. And let's talk about where that came from. More your liberal agenda. That trans shit comes off the heels of the LGBTQ thing. And it's the women, and it's the women's movement, feminism, that the LGBTQ thing rides on. It starts out with feminism. Then that evolves into LGBTQ. Because who are the main ones that are pushing LGBTQ? Straight women. Straight men just ignore that shit like, ain't no disrespect to you, homie, but you on your own. It'd be the women going around, yes, girl, yes. And I'm not saying this to be overly critical of you women. I'm just telling the women, you got to pay attention. Got to pay attention to what you support. Because it went from yes to now they went from being gay to putting on a dress and saying, I am you, bitch. That's what they basically did. For those of you who don't know that panel on Fox Soul, the question that we had to answer that day on Fox Soul was, is there a war against black men? That was the topic. And so they had, according to Fox Soul, 2 men and 2 women. Me and Dr. Umar were the men. Cynthia G and that man were the women. Think about how much respect they have for y'all as women. They have Cynthia G and that man speaking for women. And we wonder why there's such a schism between men and women these days. Appreciate the Cash App, Smooth. That's what Fox Soul did. You right about that, Maxwell. Jenkins, it probably was best that we didn't know that was a dude. Because if I knew that was a dude, I would have had a totally different response. Me and Umar both. It would have been a way different response. Way different response. Because there was one time I was getting ready to cut him off. Because they had said, Cynthia G had said something about only the men participated in the slave trade. And I was about to drop that fact on the Dahomey women. And this was before all this news came out. I'd have been ahead of the curve. I was about to drop the fact about the Dahomey Amazon women being the ones that helped in the slave trade. But that dude cut me off. And Tammy Mack allowed it to happen, so I didn't get that in. Now since I thought it was a woman, I said, all right, whatever. I didn't want to come off as bullying a woman. So but if I knew that was a dude, I'd have been like, hold up there, young man. Let me finish what I have to say. But I didn't know. Because even if I disagree with a woman, I still give women a certain level of respect. I still give women a certain level of respect. A different kind of respect than I give men. That's because I'm a gentleman through and through. My dad raised me that way. I don't have to agree with a woman to still, I'm not gonna get into a back and forth with a woman. I'm not gonna argue with a woman. I'm not gonna, there's certain things I just won't do with women. I don't care how they treat me. But if it's a man, it's totally different. I don't give a damn that you dress like a woman. You still a man. So that's going to be a totally different way I treat you than the way I treat a natural born woman. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, Dave, that's what I'm doing next. Next time I'm on Fox Soul, this last time was my 4th or 5th time on Fox Soul. They call me fairly regularly. A few times a year they call me. Yeah, the next time they call me, I'm definitely going to ask that. But I'm going to say this. They have different people booking. The person that books me through Fox Soul, because I talked to her, and I was like, man, I was like, shit. You know, I was like, you got Dr. I said, who else on the panel? She didn't even know Cynthia G was gonna be on the panel. When I got the call, they were like, are you willing to be on this panel with Dr. Umar Johnson? And it's like, it's different people who book. So the person that booked me ain't the person that booked the trans dude. And that's a different person who booked Cynthia G and Umar. So the person who booked me, if I even asked her that question, because the person that booked me, she's hella cool. Shouts out to Nielle. She's hella cool. Me and her go back to the J Spot when she used to promote the J Spot, be a manager there. And it's funny too, because me and her, the person that booked me for Fox Soul, me and her had a public falling out on Facebook over something that happened at the J Spot where J. Anthony Brown kind of played in between both of us, and she took it a certain way and lashed out at me on Facebook, and I lashed back, and then we got to the truth of things and we got past it, showing how black men and women can work together. The woman who booked me on this is somebody who I had a public, those of you who are Facebook friends of me, as of like 5 or 6 years ago, you probably saw it. It was a very public thing on Facebook because anyone in comedy knows who she is because she was, used to run the J Spot. But we're both adults and we went past it. She got played. I won't say I got played. It was just a miscommunication. And we like real black men and real black women do. We solved our differences. And she's been calling me to come on Fox Soul regularly for the last 2 years. 2.5 years. Black men and black women working together. Anytime it's a discussion on race or anything she think that can help me out, advance me, she calls me. But she's not the person that booked the Transformer. So even if I asked her, she wouldn't have known. So, yeah, you're right, Biz Marty. But that shows you how deep and devious their games go. Even my person that got love for me, that booked me on that show, there's no way she would have known to even give me a warning. Because they got different people doing different things. So on the surface level, it can look a certain way. And to tell you the truth, I don't even know if Tammy Mack knew. She may have known. I don't know. Tammy Mack may or may not have known. Cynthia G didn't know. Because Cynthia G was over there, complimenting old boy. Their confusion goes down to the bone. They even confuse their own goddamn employees. I got somebody in the chat room saying, come on, they all knew. Or no, come on, or you can just listen to the person who was on the show telling you what I know for a fact. You can keep your opinion, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you what. But no, or you can just listen to the person who was there. I know the person who booked me didn't know. We talked about it already. I know Umar didn't know, and I know Tammy Mack. I don't know if Tammy Mack knew. I don't know, but they're so complex with their confusion. They don't tell and that's the thing when it comes to a plot to do something. There's something that we got to understand when it comes to things, because conspiracies do exist. People always be like, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. Nigga, you better. When it comes to a conspiracy, you only need 1 or 2 people to know. It could be 200 people involved in it. All you need is 1, 2, maybe 3 people at max to know what the conspiracy is. As a matter of fact, a conspiracy works best if the majority of the people involved in the conspiracy don't know they're being involved in a conspiracy. A conspiracy would never work if everyone involved in the conspiracy knew that they were involved in a conspiracy. Most people involved in the conspiracy just think that they're carrying out their job. All they know is their job assignment. How do you think conspiracies are so successful? If everyone knew that about these plots, the cat would have been left out the bag. You wouldn't be able to pull the conspiracy off if everybody's aware of what's going on, because somebody gonna whistleblow and tell the truth. All it takes is the person that's in control of the money to know that it's an agenda. Everyone else probably don't know. The NBA, in a lot of ways, is fixed. But I know a whole lot of NBA niggas. Most the niggas that play, they don't know. I know NBA referees. Most NBA referees don't know. All it takes is 1 referee on the court to know what the deal is. 1 referee, 1 player at max. That's all it takes to pull it off. That's right, 07. I'm talking chess. These niggas out here that be having these little simple ass solutions, but everybody know. Man, it ain't that simple, bruh. Agendas are very confusing, Derrick Henry. You're right. Like, you got listen. You got to embody what Neely Fuller says. These people thrive off confusion, man. All it takes is the people that are in charge to know what's going on. And all the people that are in charge are going to do is say, person A, you get somebody to do task A. Person B, you get somebody to do task B. Person C, employee C, you get somebody to do task C. Employee A, B, and C don't know that they're involved in a conspiracy. But I told A to do one thing. I told B to do something different. I told C to do something different. And when the end product of that reaches the TV screen, the conspiracy done took care of itself without the people involved in the conspiracy knowing that they were ever part of the conspiracy. That's how chess works, black people. That's why if you notice when I have these conversations, I don't get into the blame game. I've never said anything bad about Tammy Mack. I don't say bad about anything of the people at Fox Soul. Because I'm pretty damn sure they're unaware of the part that they're playing. But the people that write their checks know the fuck is going on, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters. But when you get focused on the people and what's going wrong, or you should have known better and they knew what they was doing, you missed the point. You missed the point, my friends. My friends? My friend. You missed the point, my friend. The point, my friend, is to get black man and black woman fighting each other, my friend, while ignoring the children, my friend. That's the point, my friend. And how that gets executed, it's fairly complex. But we got to have these discussions because black man and black woman, we belong together. And when we don't have these people in the middle of our bullshit, we do a fairly good job of being together and staying together too. But we've allowed these people to infiltrate our family unit through the education system, through the media system, through the democratic political system. We've allowed these outsiders in over the last 60 years. And that has caused a lot of harm and a lot of going back and forth and warring. That's why even on the episode of Fox Soul, even though Cynthia G was slinging mud and that man woman was slinging mud, I didn't get involved in the mud because at the end of the day, we got to watch how we present ourselves. You can say a few things, boom, 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 but at certain places, I'm not going to go for the entertainment of white people and other people. We got to come together as black men and black women. And we got to talk it out. Black women have had their reasons. Black men, we've had ours. You dig? I want to play this commercial. This commercial's still being edited. Reggie, if you watch it, excuse me. I know that you're editing this commercial, bruh, but this commercial is so dope. I had to show them the first draft. So, Mr. Simon, please, 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 please forgive me for showing them the rough draft of your commercial. But I had to do it because this shit's so dope.
1B Black History commercial. Take one.
You got to see this. My man just put together a commercial for me for my t-shirts. And this shit is off the hook. Let's go ahead and watch.
The 1B Black History commercial. Take one.
And here comes the 2 to the 3 and 4.
Hold up. Celebrate our and scholars. Black history on a t-shirt. Black people don't owe anybody anything but an ass whooping. Yeah. Mothers of the movement, our scholars. Instead of wearing a sports jersey with someone else's name on your back, celebrate our leader's name on your chest.
Say it with your chest.
Get yours now at hotepish.com/shop. Free shipping on all orders over $75. Also, get your Black American Music family tree at incenseandashtrays.com/shop. 400 years of music created here in North America exclusively by Black Americans on one piece of artwork.
Y'all like that? You know, Jayla, I had to have you up in that commercial. Y'all like that commercial? Yeah, I'm gonna run that on some in some new black media channels. I'm gonna run it on some of their channels. I'm gonna run it on IG. It got a few edits to get made. I'm gonna replace the red, black, and green flag with the Juneteenth freedom flag. Because we got to celebrate the red, white, and blue. Got to celebrate the red, white, and blue. Somebody's asking, why would you celebrate the red, white, and blue? Because I know what the red, white, and blue truly stands for. The red, white, and blue, those are the colors that Sirius shines. Our mother star Sirius, 4 light years away. When it's coming above the horizon, it shines red, white, and blue. And that's the reason. It's a Dogon connection. That's the reason why the United States and France and Britain and Australia uses red, white, and blue as their colors. Because of the star Sirius. It's our interstellar connection to Earth. We all have an earthly connection, and we also have an interstellar connection. You can choose not to believe that if you want. You don't have to believe in astrology and astronomy and all that. Nobody gives a fuck. But that's the reason why the red, white, and blue exist. It's because it's a celebration of our connection to the star Sirius. That's why I got the red, white, and blue. I appreciate y'all, man. For real. You know, shouts out to the Secure the Tribe brothers in the chat room. I see y'all on YouTube and also on Twitter. Shouts out to everybody on Twitter, everybody on Facebook listening. Shouts out to the people listening on Twitch. Shouts out to y'all. Willie 417 said, you got family from Texas, so you good anyway. Y'all was on me about the whole moving should we move down south? I appreciate you, S-Rep. You know, that y'all was on me about should we move down south. Look, I'm telling y'all, look, y'all go back and watch that video and look, if you feel you need to move down south, then by all means, move down south. I'm not. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to be at the Hollywood Bowl tonight. Latin Jazz Night tonight at the Hollywood Bowl. I got my box seats on deck. Me and the wife going to be there. I got my box. I wish I had some bubbly. I'm out of bubbly. I wish I had some demi-sec. Me and the wife got to head back up to wine country this weekend to get some more bubbly. I ain't leaving LA. Shit. Kiss my black ass. But shouts out to you, Willie 417. That's right, Jayla. Jayla, you in Southern California. What'd you say, Jayla? The furthest south you moving to is Orange County, goddammit. Shit. You crazy than a motherfucker. You talking about something. Do y'all know what it is right now here in LA? Man, please. Please. Y'all want to know what it's like in LA right now? Look. This is what we dealing with right now here in LA. 83 degrees and sunny. It's a breeze outside. No clouds in the sky. No barking from the dog. No smog. And mama cooked the breakfast with no hog. I ain't leaving this shit, man. Fuck out of here. Oh, you said King Simon gave me a promo? That's right, Maxwell Jenkins. I'm not moving down south, but I'll support whoever wants to. It's expensive everywhere. It's expensive everywhere. And down south, y'all getting expensive too. All you niggas moving out of LA, moving somewhere else, y'all about to have, y'all better, at least you better buy something and pay it off. At least do that if you're gonna move. Don't move somewhere else to rent. Because your renting ass gonna be in having the same issues in the next 5 years. Shit. Somebody said y'all politics is messing up the country. Well, yeah. So is those reparations, California, is it the head of the front? Is that messing up the country too, nigga? The country's already messed up. Ain't no. Please, people talking about some move down south so we can have a political base. Well, fix what's going on in Jackson, Mississippi, then holler at me. When I see the black people in Atlanta vote for Fonnie Willis and kick out Paul Howard, and y'all vote in a black DA that's going after nothing but rappers. Now y'all down south, y'all gotta fix that shit first before I move down there. I'm not about to move around a whole bunch of black people just for y'all to vote in Jim Clyburn and Sheila Jackson Lee in Houston. Y'all got all them black leaders down there down south that are fighting for immigrants and LGBTQ, local and federally. And y'all want to talk about California? Kiss my ass. All the way. I'm staying right here. And I will visit the South. I love visiting. Man, I love Dallas. I love New Orleans. I love Miami. I can't wait to go to South Carolina and try some of that food. Me and the wife plan on doing a road trip next year. Well, we were going to do it last year, but the coronavirus, it was so much shit fucked up and shutting things down. But next year, I'm going to do a trip where I fly into like Dallas or something like that, see my family. And then I'm going to drive to South. I'm going to drive past my grandfather's old land in Grace, Mississippi. I'm going to go past my great-grandparents' land in Natchez, Mississippi. I'm going to go down to New Orleans. I'm going to drive through Tennessee, Georgia. And I'm going to drive all the way to South Carolina. It's like a road trip through the South, like 2 weeks. I'm going to do that. I love the South. But I ain't moving down there with you niggas. Shit. You're right, Taylor. People talk all shit about LA, but they never been here on a Wednesday. Nigga, I'm going to the Hollywood Bowl tonight on a Wednesday, about to have fun. Next Wednesday, Herbie Hancock and the Free Nationals are opening up for Herbie Hancock. Y'all know I love the Free Nationals. Anderson .Paak's backing band. I love them. It's going to be the Free Nationals and Herbie Hancock next on a Wednesday, nigga? On a Wednesday, nigga? Yes. Somebody said, take the train. Now, train is cool, but I like driving. I love driving. Shit. Driving is fun to me. Driving is peaceful and relaxing, especially on that open road. I drove to Texas twice in the last 3 years. I drove to Houston once, and I drove to Dallas another time. Man, I love driving up to Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is a 9.5-hour drive. I love driving to Mount Shasta or Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe was a 7-hour drive. Do y'all know how many times I've driven to Vegas and back in the same day? I'm an LA person. Vegas, for you novices, is a 4.5-hour drive, 5-hour drive. For us LA niggas, Vegas is about 3 hours and 46 minutes, 4 hours. About 3 hours and 46 minutes to Vegas if you're from LA. Because you done driven that road so much. You know exactly where to slow down, where the cops be hiding. And you know exactly where to speed off. You know when you coming up on that Halloran Summit, the police are never on that long. It's about like a 15-mile uphill trip along when you get past ZZYX Road up through that Halloran Summit. Police ain't never relaxing right there. So if you got a good car, you pushing 110 up that Halloran Summit. But then when you get to the top of that summit and you start going downhill, you better drive closer to about 83, 85 because them cops are waiting on your ass. But I drive to Vegas and back in the same day, in a heartbeat. I will wake my wife up at 6 in the morning like, hey, baby, let's go to Vegas. We'll be on the road by 7. We'll be in Vegas by 11. We stay in Vegas and gamble and eat till about 6. Drive back home. Be back home by 10 o'clock. That's some LA shit. When I go to wine country, up there near Michael Jackson's Neverland Estate, when y'all be seeing me posting wine country pictures, that's up there near where Michael Jackson's Neverland Estate was. Nigga, that drive is 2.5 hours each way. Well, my furthest winery to the back is about 3 hours. If I go to my furthest winery that I got to get to, it's about a 3-hour drive. Man, I go up there, stop at about 5 or 6 different wineries. Each winery, I do a tasting. Taste some of that good-ass wine. And drive home. Head up to wine country at about, you head to wine country at about 8 in the morning. Get up there about 11. Drink wine. Until about 5. Nigga, yes. That's how we get down. I ain't leaving this shit. I ain't leaving. I don't want to. Look at some of these pictures. I'm gonna look at this. Look at this. You think I'm gonna leave this? You think I'm gonna leave this? This is wine country. I love my wineries out there. That's Riverbench Winery. Some of the best wine you're going to get, California Central Coast. That's me, my wife, my cousins. Those are my cousins from Texas in town. Of course, I had to bring my cousins from Texas in town to wine country. You dig? Nigga, yes. Of course. I ain't leaving that. Because we don't gender war around here. We love our women, fellas. Black women, I don't see black women as strong. Black women are gentle. Y'all ever notice on TV you can't see a black woman on TV without having a fucking attitude? Every TV commercial, if the black woman ain't saying nothing, she looking at the camera with a mean mug. Or if she is talking, her body language is rolling her neck. It's TV commercials. They advertising goddamn Dawn liquid soap. If they have a black woman voiceover, she can't just say, I use Dawn soap. It keeps my hands soft. No. If it's a black woman on a commercial, I use Dawn soap. It keeps my hands soft. Her neck gonna be snapping, her body gonna be rolling. They can't never just have a black woman be chill. Filmmaker, there are a few black-owned wineries. There used to be a black-owned winery called Rideau Winery up where I took those pictures, but Rideau Winery sold to some white people. So I left Rideau Winery because it's now white-owned. But when it was black-owned, I was a member. There's another winery called Brown Winery, but that's up in Napa. And I am a member of Brown Winery. But back to what I was saying. Y'all ever notice on TV, they can never just have black women be civil towards one another. It's never because when I see black women, it's usually a, hey girl, how you doing? Black women, for the most part, don't go around fighting each other like that. But on TV, you would think two black women can't be in a room with each other without snapping on one another, without undercutting one another. They got black men looking dumb as hell. Niggas just look stupid as fuck on TV. We're either doing some buffoon-ass dancing, some buffoonery, or we only talking about Or we always doing some stuff that a white person got to come save us from. That's not who we really are. You're right, McCoy. That's what I mean. Use this soap. Huh. They be having the black women up there looking like Mr. T. Hannibal, I'm not going to use that soap, Hannibal. Yeah, Claire Huxtable is the bar. You ain't met a white woman, an Indian woman, a Latina woman, or no woman since that has met the bar of Claire Huxtable. It's been nothing but a devolution ever since. I get so tired of seeing my black women portrayed that way. Because my mama's nice. My sister's nice. My wife is nice. Most of the women I know are nice. And when the black women when they are being mean, when they are being rude, it's usually because they got a fucking reason to be mean and rude. Somebody just said some bullshit. Somebody just did some bullshit. So in the moment, they may be responding to that nonsense. That ain't how black women don't go walking around with a scowl on their face 24 hours a day. Y'all look up Jayla. Y'all seen my old show, my interview with Jayla? Jayla has been, and by the way, and please again get her candles. Weed Smoke 22 is your discount code. Jayla's had some shit happen to her, and she's talked about it on this very show. She's still a pleasant woman. She's going through all kind of shit. But if you ever talk to her, she's the sweetest person you'd ever want to meet. She don't walk around with no attitude in spite of how this world's done her. That's not how my black women are. I'm so fucking tired of seeing that representation on TV. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Black women could never just be calm and civil on TV. And I know how this Hollywood game worked. The black actress could have done the scene in a civil, calm, delightful manner 100 times. And then it'd be one scene where she do it with attitude. And that'd be the scene that they put on TV. How about you blacken it up again a little bit? Just blacken it up a little bit more, Keisha. Think about that. You be having white directors say blacken it up. Think about that for a second. Think about that also when it comes to that movie. The Woman King. These were the women saying, hey, I don't like you. You said that with a smile, Viola. You should stand with your shoulders more square and more erect. And yeah, it'll go good for the movie. And I want you to stare that man down before you whoop his ass. And look him in the eye and tell him about all the things men have done to women. These was the women giving that kind of instruction out on a Woman King. These women right here. These women. Now, when we watch the Woman King, of course, they don't have, you notice on TV, they don't ever have dark black women do shit. Most of the black women on TV, the women that represent black women on TV are light skinned. But then when it's time to have a war, they go and pick a bunch of women that look like the 1994 New York Knicks. You got Patrick Ewing right here. Anthony Mason right here. Charles Smith over here. Charles Oakley right there. They got these bras looking like the Knicks. It's funny how Hollywood can never find a black woman to play a role of a genius, to play the role in a heist film that's going to be the one that's the witty one. They can never allow a dark-skinned black woman to play any kind of role that is genteel, where she's a good wife to a husband or a good daughter to a father. But they can show find some dark-skinned women to play some fake-ass warriors. You're right about that, Biz Marti. You got 5'3", 57-year-old Viola Davis killing young niggas. Right. And look at Viola. Yeah, look at Viola's hair, Quan. Yeah, you're right. Look at her hair. She look like she just took her football helmet off. Got her looking crazy as hell. So you see dark-skinned black women? Black men ain't your problem. Hollywood know you out there. But Hollywood only wants you when they want you to play a part of a gender war. And these are the women that said that's okay. Get my new book, Tell It Like It Is, The Art of Loving Communication. Link is in the description bar. Webinars. The first webinar will be in October, either the first or second week. I just got to check my calendar again for the right date. But don't play into the gender wars. Black men and black women, we love each other. We must pass this information down to our children and our young adults. Tell them the truth. And don't let these Democrats, these liberals, or this Hollywood bullshit come in between us. We love each other. We care for one another. We take care of one another. And as long as we stay on that vibration, we'll be good. All right? Because when we allow them to play up that stereotype, they say justice for Breonna Taylor. But part of the reason why black women don't get the justice that they deserve is because they've been masculinized, if that's a word. I don't even know if that's a word. Is masculinized a word? But they've made black women into these masculine beings. Strong black woman. Women warriors. Black girl magic. When you do that, you take away the black woman's humanity. The black woman is a human. She's the mother to earth. She's the first caretaker of earth. If a black woman was a beast and not motherly, earth wouldn't exist. The black woman nurtured every race into existence. The black man fathered every race into existence. Every one. The black man is a man of compassion, but a man that'll whoop your ass if you cross his path. Black men are very dangerous. But we're not dangerous towards one another. We're dangerous towards people who infringe upon and try to disrespect and harm our family and our community. That's who we really are at the core. That's who the majority of us are. What's going on with the gang situation, those are children. Whenever you see gangs, you see children. The majority of the gang violence is children on children. People without proper instruction. But they don't speak for us as black men. Black men are civil. We talk it out. Sometimes we clown it out, crack a little few jokes. Hell, sometimes we fight it out amongst each other and throw some hands amongst each other. But when that's done, we shake hands and we move on. That's who we really are. Don't let this propaganda get in the way. And our children are precious. Let's stop raising our children to be, look, it's good. Sports is cool. Y'all know me. I can break down basketball better than anybody you know. I love sports. But sports ain't the end all be all for us as a people. our children are geniuses. Raise our little children to be in the tech world, to be young engineers, young farmers, young businessmen and women, scientists. That's who our children are. This gender war has gone so far, the adults have forgotten all about the kids. And what does that say about the society if the kids aren't taken care of and aren't protected by neither the men or the women, because the men and the women are spending too much time fighting each other? Can't let that happen. All right? And I want y'all to remember, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those who are willing to pick up the game. Thank y'all for listening. I'm out.